This is WZ Tales. Today's story follows a paramedic whose wife serves him divorce papers at his mother's funeral, only to learn later that the man she left has inherited a construction empire. While you listen, imagine what you would have done the moment those papers showed up in the parking lot. My wife said, "You'll thank me for this later." I replied, "You wrote your own karma, my love." Then I signed the divorce in the parking lot, took a small studio, stayed silent about my inheritance, and watched her upgrade crack when she had to sell houses with my company logo on every sign. My name is Phil. I am a paramedic in Ohio. I have been doing it for about 12 years. The pay is not amazing, around $55,000 a year, but I love what I do. Every shift, I meet people on the worst days of their lives and I get to help. That matters to me. My wife, Leela, works in marketing and does the lifestyle influencer thing on the side. She makes around $90,000 to $110,000 between both. Her family is well off. Her dad, Greg, owns a development company. Her mom plays golf and does charity events. They have never said it straight to my face, but it has always been clear I am not what they pictured for their daughter. We met 5 years ago at a hospital fundraiser. She was handling social media for the event. I was there with the EMS team. She told me she liked that I was passionate about something real instead of just chasing money. We dated for 2 years and got married 3 years ago. Before the wedding, her family insisted on a prenup. Their lawyer drew it up. Everything stays separate. Inheritances go to whoever receives them. Each person keeps what is in their name. We both waived spousal support unless the marriage lasted over 10 years. I did not have much to protect. A small 401k and a beat-up pickup truck. I signed. A public defender buddy of mine looked it over and said, "Honestly, this protects you as much as her. If you ever get a surprise inheritance, she cannot touch it." I laughed and told him my dad had been gone for 25 years. No inheritance was coming. Sometimes life starts setting up protection for you long before you know you need it. The marriage started fine, but it went downhill fast. Leela became more and more embarrassed about my job, the same job she once called real. Now she would say things like, "You need to think about your future. You cannot drive an ambulance forever." She wanted me to move into hospital administration or medical sales, something that paid more. She was always comparing me to her friends' husbands. Doctors, lawyers, tech guys. Family gatherings with her side were rough. Her dad would ask about my salary and then say, "Well, at least it is stable." Her younger brother would brag about his downtown condo and Tesla while making jokes about my old farm truck. About a year ago, Leela started spending a lot of time with a client named Brandon, a commercial real estate broker. Lots of late client dinners. Lots of fancy restaurant selfies where I was never in the picture. I had my suspicions, but I was working long shifts and taking care of my mom, so I pushed it aside. My mom, Nancy, raised me alone after my dad, Ron, left when I was 9. He owned a construction company called Mason Construction. One random Tuesday, he decided he did not want the life he had anymore. He walked away. No child support, no calls, nothing. As far as I was concerned, he was dead. Mom worked 3 nursing jobs to keep us afloat. 6 months ago, I got an email from a law office asking to talk about Ron. I assumed it was spam and ignored it. Mom told me he had called her a few years back wanting to make amends, but she did not trust it. Then her health started to fail. Heart failure. In and out of the hospital. I was pulling double shifts to pay for her care, trying to be there for her. I wanted to move her in with us and hire a part-time nurse. Leela lost it. "You spend all your time with your mother. What about our marriage?" We fought about it over and over. Ever since then, the comments about my job, my pay, my choices only got sharper. This is where a lot of people stay and hope it will get better. The pattern was already there. I just did not want to admit it. 3 weeks ago, my mom died suddenly. Heart attack. I was destroyed. She was the only family I had left. At her funeral, I gave the eulogy. I talked about how she helped everyone even when she had nothing. Leela stood there checking her phone. After the service, everyone went to the funeral lunch at the hall. I went outside to the parking lot because I could not breathe. That is where Leela walked up with a middle-aged man, her family's lawyer. Right there, still in my black suit, eyes swollen from crying at my mother's grave, she looked me in the eyes and said, "I think this is the best time to do this. Better to rip the bandage off, one less thing for you to worry about." The lawyer handed me a folder, divorce papers already filled out. He went through them quickly. Asset division according to the prenup. No alimony. She keeps the apartment since it is in her name. We split the small savings account 50-50. I let out this bitter laugh. "Perfect timing," I said. "A funeral and a marriage, very efficient." I signed right there without reading closely. I just wanted out of that parking lot, out of that moment, away from her and all of it. She looked almost surprised that I did not fight. "You will thank me for this later," she said. "This is the mature way to end things." I drove off and slept in my truck in a Walmart parking lot. I could not stand to go back to the apartment. The next morning, I woke up to 3 missed calls from a law office. I called back, thinking it was about the divorce or my mom's tiny estate. "Mr. Mason," the lawyer said, "we represent the estate of Ronald Mason. We need to meet with you as soon as possible regarding your inheritance." I sat in my truck, still in yesterday's funeral clothes, and just stared. My wife had just left me. My mom had just died. And now my father, who abandoned me, had somehow left me something. When too many huge things hit at once, your brain sometimes goes quiet instead of loud. That is where I was. I met with my father's lawyers the next day. Ron Mason had died a month earlier from a stroke. I had to sit with that for a second. The man I had spent 25 years hating was gone. There would never be a confrontation. No answers. Just an ending. Mom had just died 3 weeks earlier. Now both my parents were gone. One taken too soon, the other gone because he chose to be. The lawyer let that sit, then continued. After he left us, Ron built Mason Construction into a successful company. They did infrastructure and small commercial developments around the region. In the last few years of his life, he sold some assets, but kept controlling shares in the company and several plots of land that were being rezoned for commercial use. His will and trust named me as the main beneficiary, except for a small amount to charity and a tiny share for another child I had never known about. A half-sibling somewhere. The estimated value of everything was between $3.5 and $4 million. The company shares, the land, the cash reserves. Then the lawyer told me the part that stunned me. Everything was placed in a family trust with very specific language. No current or future spouse of yours can be considered a beneficiary of this trust. In the event of divorce, no spouse has any claim to trust assets. He explained why. After your father left your mother, he remarried and had another child. That marriage ended badly. His second wife used the child to demand money and threatened to keep him away unless he paid. It left him bitter about relationships and money. He wanted to make sure you would never be taken advantage of the way he felt he had been. This trust is locked down tight. I showed the lawyer a scan of my prenup that Leela's lawyer had sent. He actually smiled. "This plus your father's trust means any ex-wife has exactly zero access to any of this," he said, "even if she knew about it." I sat there, full of emotions I could not sort through. I had spent 25 years hating this man. Now he was the reason I was not going to be destroyed in this divorce. The trust is set up to generate income while preserving capital. There is a management team running Mason Construction. If I want to be involved, I can. If I want them to just keep doing what they are doing, I can choose that too. I drove back to the small studio apartment I was renting for now in shock. I did not tell Leela any of this. We were legally separated, just waiting for the court to finalize things. The prenup already decided how assets worked. I hired a financial advisor. We started making a plan. I decided I wanted to keep working as a paramedic part-time because I actually love it. I wanted to take some management courses and get more involved with Mason Construction. I wanted to pay off all of Mom's remaining medical bills. I wanted to live modestly and invest most of the money. Leela texted asking for a timeline on when I would move my stuff out. She wanted her boyfriend Brandon to move in. She had already made it official. I replied, "Sure. I will be out by the end of the month. I wish you the best." She wrote something cold about returning the keys on time. Around then, a mutual friend, Mark, sent me screenshots from a group chat with Leela and her friends. Leela finally free from being married to a poor paramedic who brings home trauma stories every night. I deserve a real man who does commercial real estate. Phil is going to be driving that ambulance for the rest of his life. He signed immediately, did not even ask questions. Such a good boy. I will be single and thriving before Christmas. Reading that, I did not feel anger, just relief that I had signed those papers and walked away. I texted Mark, "Thanks. I needed to see that. Makes everything clearer." Then I got another email from the estate lawyers. "The city council just approved rezoning for one of the land parcels," they wrote. "The value could potentially double within the next 18 months. Would you like to hold or sell?" I started to realize this was not just some money. This was a whole new life. A few weeks later, the local business journal ran a story. "News travels fast in construction. Local paramedic inherits construction firm," the headline read, "becomes majority owner of Mason Construction." There was a photo of me in a suit at the company office. Greg saw it. For 3 years of marriage, this man could barely remember my name. Now he called. "Phil, been too long," he said. "Want to grab coffee, talk about opportunities we met." He was trying very hard to be friendly. It was almost painful. "We are both in the industry now," he said. "Son-in-law, I mean ex-in-law." He laughed awkwardly. Then he got to the point. He wanted a joint venture on a new mixed-use development. He said they needed a solid contractor, just like Mason Construction. I kept it professional. "I will have my team review it," I said, "but I keep personal and business separate." He did not like that answer, but he forced a smile. Meanwhile, Leela was putting pieces together. She was showing properties one day and saw a new site sign. "Site prepared by Mason Construction," with Phil Mason, managing partner, at the bottom. A friend told me she froze for a few seconds, then kept walking with her clients like nothing had happened. That night, she went full detective on LinkedIn and Google. She found the Business Journal article, photos of me on construction sites, photos of me shaking hands with developers, including her father. The realization must have hit hard. She had divorced the poor paramedic right before he became a multimillionaire. 2 days later, she showed up at my station while I was on shift. She said she wanted to talk about closure like adults. I was tired but agreed to step outside for 10 minutes. "I am not happy with how things ended between us," she started. "We signed too quickly. Maybe we should try counseling." I looked at her. "You already had 8 months of counseling with Brandon," I said. She tried to look shocked that I knew about the affair but recovered quickly. "I made mistakes," she said. "But I always believed you could be more than a paramedic, and look at you now. I was right. Maybe we could start over." "Leela," I said, keeping my voice calm, "we are divorced. You pushed for it. The prenup and the divorce decree are finalized. We have no legal connection." "The prenup is just paperwork," she said. "People can modify these things." I actually smiled. "You are the one who insisted I sign it," I said. "That paperwork protected your assets from your poor paramedic husband. Now it protects me from an ex-wife who only came back when she saw money." Her face went white. "The trust my father set up is completely separate from marital property," I continued. "Even if we were still married, which we are not, you would have zero claim to any of it. He designed it specifically to prevent gold diggers. Turns out he knew what he was doing." She started to speak, but I was done. "I need to get back to work," I said. "People's lives depend on me being focused, not standing in a parking lot rehashing a dead marriage." While this was happening, Brandon got fired from his firm. Policy violations, inappropriate relationships with married clients, using company funds for personal expenses. Several of Leela's influencer clients dropped her too. They did not want to be connected to the drama. She thought she was trading up. Instead, she lost everything. At the final divorce hearing, she came with her lawyer looking worn out. My lawyer, a much better one this time, laid out the prenup and trust documents. The judge asked, "Mrs. Mason, you were fully counseled when you signed this prenuptial agreement." She nodded. He read, "All current and future inheritances of Mr. Phil Mason are separate property and not subject to marital asset division." Leela's lawyer tried to argue about sudden changes in my finances, but the judge shut it down. "The prenup is clear," he said. "If your client wished to contest it, she needed to do so earlier. It is too late now." Walking out of the courtroom, I heard Leela's lawyer mutter, "Next time, do not file for divorce before the estate probate closes." I signed the final papers and walked out without looking back. Here is the karma twist. Mason Construction just won the bid for that mixed-use development Greg wanted so badly. The same one he tried to pitch me on at coffee. He has been calling and emailing for days wanting to discuss partnership opportunities. I have not replied. My project manager handles all communication. People ask if I am being petty. I am not. I am running a business. His company's proposal will be judged like any other. No special favors. No extra punishments, just numbers and quality. About 9 months later, a lot has changed. I finished a course in construction management and finance. I am now the managing partner of Mason Construction. I still work 1 or 2 paramedic shifts a week because I miss it. Those calls keep me grounded. The company is doing well. We are working on an affordable housing development and a community center I am naming after my mom. The Nancy Mason Community Center. It will offer free medical screenings and space for support groups. That one is for her. I bought a house a few months ago. Nothing flashy. 3 bedrooms, quiet street, decent yard. Close enough to the station that I can get there quickly when needed. No luxury car, no wild lifestyle, just comfortable. And I met someone. Her name is Mia. She is a pediatric nurse at the hospital where I drop off patients. We met over a scared kid we were both treating. She asked me out for coffee. I said yes. She knows I have a family business, but not the details. She likes that I still light up when I talk about saving lives and building things that help people. Last week, she told me she finally Googled me and saw the Business Journal article. She laughed and said, "I was wondering why you talked about construction sites so much." Then we went back to making dinner. She did not ask for numbers. She did not ask what I was worth. Meanwhile, Leela's life has gone in the opposite direction. After Brandon dumped her once she was not the big influencer anymore, her real estate career tanked. The affair drama and messy divorce hurt her reputation. She left the high-end agency and now works at a discount brokerage making much less. She moved back in with her parents to save money. From what mutual friends say, family dinners are tense. Greg blames her for not keeping Phil before he got rich. Her mom is embarrassed because the whole story spread through their country club crowd. A few weeks ago, I got an email from Leela. Long, emotional. She apologized for the timing of the divorce, for the affair, for looking down on my job. She said she always believed I would become successful and that she is proud of me now. She asked if we could meet for real closure. I agreed to meet at a busy coffee shop. Public, neutral. She showed up looking tired. She cried, said life had not gone the way she expected. She said Brandon was exactly what she once accused me of not being, obsessed with money and status with nothing underneath. "I was wrong to judge you by your salary," she said, "but I want you to know I did love you once." I kept my voice steady. "I believe that at some point you had feelings for me," I said. "But love that requires constant comparison and trying to change someone into something else is not what I need." Then she asked, "If we could go back, if there was no money, no trust, no prenup, would you give us a second chance?" I took a breath. "If you had not forced me to sign a prenup," I said. "If you had not handed me divorce papers in the parking lot at my mother's funeral, if you had stayed with me when I was just a paramedic making $55,000, I would have shared everything with you. No lawyers, no paperwork, but all of that happened. And more importantly, even if the law allowed it, I do not want my life tied to someone who only came back when there was something to take." I stood up, paid for both coffees, and added one more thing. "Actually, I should thank you. If you and your parents had not insisted on that prenup, I might have been forced to split my mother's memory and my father's legacy with someone who only saw me as a step up. You wrote your own karma." She just sat there. One last twist. I was driving past one of our new developments recently. Mason Ridge Homes, nice starter homes, the kind of place I would have dreamed of when I was working only on the ambulance. I saw someone showing the model home. At a red light, I looked closer. It was Leela, standing in front of a sign that said, "Mason Construction, Building Communities." A friend in the industry told me what happened. She tried to avoid selling any Mason construction properties because of the history, but inventory is tight, and her brokerage keeps assigning them to her. She needs the commission. So now, several times a week, she stands in front of homes my company built, hands out brochures with our logo, posts listings about our excellent craftsmanship. Every closing she makes, Mason Construction is on the paperwork. I did not plan it that way. I am just building homes and community centers and trying to do good work. If someone finds it painful to see the Mason name everywhere, that is between them and their choices. Last night, Mia and I were making dinner. She is teaching me to cook instead of living on energy bars. She asked if I ever think about how different my life could have been if things had gone another way. I told her the truth. My ex handed me divorce papers at my mother's funeral because she thought it was the perfect time, I said. Turns out it was. That was the day I got my freedom back. Mom used to say that sometimes people dig their own holes and all you can do is stand far enough back that you do not fall in with them. She was right. I am happy. I am building things that matter. I am with someone who likes me for who I am, not for what I can provide. I am still saving lives in the back of an ambulance, which is all I ever wanted to do. The Mason name used to mean abandonment to me. Now it means second chances and building something that actually helps people. That is enough. Here are some lessons from this story. Lesson 1. If your partner is ashamed of your honest work and keeps comparing you to other people, believe what they are telling you about their values. Lesson 2. Prenups and clear financial agreements are not unromantic. They can protect both people when someone's character shows up later. Lesson 3. Leaving someone at their lowest point tells you everything you need to know about how they see you. Believe that action instead of their later apologies. Lesson 4. Money does not change who someone is. It only makes their values clearer by changing what they have to lose or gain. Lesson 5. You can forgive the past in your own heart and still choose not to reconnect with people who only come back when you are doing well. Lesson 6. Protecting your peace and building a life that fits you is not revenge. It is healing. What about you if you were in Phil's place? Would you have signed those papers in the parking lot? Or tried to fight the divorce? Have you ever had someone only come back into your life after you started doing better? Share your thoughts in the comments and let us know where you think the real point of no return was.